The Linx Process Automation service will allow you to automate any workflow or business process, while simultaneously giving you access to all of the Linx functionality. The Process Automation service will take care of instance tracking and logging, and it will make sure that the process follows the correct path as set up by you. Processes are created in BPMN 2.0 notation. To create a process, you can use the Linx BPMN editor, which will allow you to create a process that can be interpreted by the Process Automation service. Even though this is a slightly adapted version of BPMN, it still has all of the features that will allow you to create a rich and fully custom workflow. To create a workflow, you need a start, you need a task, and you need an end. Then you simply need to set up the flow between the tasks. You can set up things like variables and parameters, as well as whether a process is async. Async is used for when there is external approval or when a process needs to wait for some external input. You can even add in things like decisions to make sure that the flow goes in the right direction. Once you're happy with your model, you can copy to clipboard and import it in Linx. In Linx, we need to add the Process Automation plugin to our solution. To do this, simply add a plugin like you would usually do. Once the plugin is added, we can use the process service. Inside of the process service, there's a few options that we need to set up. First of all is the database. This is where the structure where instances are logged and tracked is to be stored. Note that you do not have to create any database structure or run any scripts on your database, as this is all managed by the Process Automation service. There's a few different options here, starting with MongoDB, MySQL, Postgres, SQLite, and SQL Server. Let's use SQL Server for now and use a connection string that we predefined inside of our settings. Next, we need the definition. This is the definition that we copied on the BPMN editor. You can open it here and then paste that XML. This XML contains our entire model. Once we hit save, all of the process events as well as the functions will be created for us. Now we simply need to set up these events as we would with any other service or any other function. I've pre-created some functions that I'm only going to drag into the events. Here you can build out any functionality that you would usually do inside of a function. So you have access to all Linx functionality to build out your workflow. Inside of the process, we have a few helper functions. These functions allow us to start a process, get process instances, cancel, and complete async tasks. To test, we can create a new function. When we're testing inside of the designer, we are going to have to use the start service function. Simply select our process, and now we can create a new process instance by using the start process function. Once that process is created, we can also complete a manual step. Every process instance that is created has a process instance ID that will be outputted by the start process function. So for the complete manual approval function as an example, we can input the parameters like whether or not it's approved, as well as we need to supply a process instance ID. This will be the ID from our start processes. And now we can debug this like any other function. We can see that our process started and that we created a new instance and that the complete manual approval step has been fired. We can also see all process instances. So if we want to do this, since we're debugging, we will again have to use the start service function. And now we can use the get process instances function. I'm going to add a breakpoint. And when we run that, we can see over here is our instances. There's the instance that we just created, as well as its last executed activity. To interact with the processes, you can use the supplied helper functions. And that is in a nutshell the Linx Process Automation plugin. Read more on the Linx Process Automation plugin in our documentation linked in the description of this video.